Imagine yourself standing in the gentle coolness of an early morning. The world around you feels paused, as if holding its breath. There is no noise, no rush, no weight from yesterday, only the faint whisper of a breeze brushing across your skin. In this quiet stillness, something unexpected appears before you. 4 feathers. They lie on the ground as though they drifted straight out of the sky, placed gently at your feet, not randomly, but purposefully, as if they arrived carrying a message only your inner self can understand. Carl Jung believed that nature speaks to us through symbols, and that when we learn to listen, we begin to understand truths our rational mind can't explain. A feather is one of these ancient symbols, light enough to ride the wind, yet strong enough to lift a body through the sky. A feather is a bridge between earth and heaven, between the self you show the world and the deeper self that lives quietly inside you. The feather you choose isn't a coincidence. It's a reflection of the energy awakening within you, the part of your soul preparing to reveal itself. Before you lies the eagle's feather, the owl's feather, the swan's feather, and the peacock's feather, each one holding a different story, a different archetype, a different direction your inner world may be guiding you toward. The eagle's feather calls to strength, vision, and the power to rise above what once limited you. The owl's feather speaks in whispers of intuition, inner clarity, and a wisdom shaped by silence. The swan's feather carries the soft pulse of emotional purity, unconditional love, and quiet resilience. And the peacock's feather glows with creativity, beauty, and the courage to be unapologetically yourself. You may think you're choosing with your eyes, but in moments like this, it's the soul that reaches first. So take a breath. Slow down. Let your attention drift naturally, without forcing, without thinking too hard. There will be one feather, one feeling, that pulls you in with a quiet, unmistakable tug. That pull is your inner voice speaking. The feather you choose reveals which wings are growing inside you at this very moment, and perhaps gently reminds you that you still know how to fly, even if life has made you forget. Whenever you're ready, step closer. Look at the 4 feathers. Feel which one stirs something inside you. A memory, a desire, a longing, a truth you haven't fully admitted yet. Your choice is not about the feather. It is about you. You chose the eagle's feather, a symbol not just of power, but of a deeper kind of strength, a strength that doesn't need to shout, doesn't need applause, and doesn't need the world's permission to exist. It is the quiet, commanding presence of someone who has learned to see life from a higher vantage point. People who are drawn to the eagle's feather are not above others. They simply see farther. The eagle is the spirit of clarity. It doesn't fear storms. Instead, it rises into them, right into the wild heart of the wind, because it knows that the very force that challenges it is also the force that lifts it higher. The eagle doesn't escape difficulty. It uses difficulty as a pathway upward. When the eagle's feather appears in your life, it is not by chance. It is a sign that you're standing on the threshold of transformation. Something in you is tired of flying low, tired of shrinking yourself to stay safe, tired of settling for a life that doesn't match the strength inside you. Maybe you've been patient for too long. Maybe you've adapted to situations that drained you, fit yourself into spaces that didn't deserve you, or stayed in routines that kept you grounded when your spirit was built for sky. The eagle's feather arrives with a message. It's time to spread your wings. You are a person of action. Inside you lives a rare combination of direction and determination. You don't wait for life to decide for you. You feel when it's time to rise above the noise, when you need to pull back to observe the bigger picture, and when you must dive forward with precision and purpose. Your strength is not raw force, it's alignment. It's intuition sharpened by courage. But remember this: eagles don't waste energy fighting the wind. They rise by surrendering to it. Their power comes from working with life, not against it. And the same is true for you. Your spirit doesn't thrive in endless struggle. It thrives in clarity, focus, and the quiet confidence of someone who trusts their own inner compass. Not every battle deserves your effort. Sometimes wisdom is knowing that the battle is already won the moment you shift your perspective. When you rise high enough, what once looked overwhelming becomes small, manageable, or simply irrelevant. The eagle's feather tells you, your life is not random. It is the path you consciously choose. You may not seek authority or control, but others sense your leadership. Your presence steadies them. Your clarity inspires them. Your ability to stay true to yourself gives others permission to do the same. Yet even the strongest wings need rest. There are seasons when an eagle withdraws into the mountains, silent, hidden, renewing its feathers. Not to escape, but to regenerate. If you feel worn out, uncertain, or emotionally drained, this isn't a fall, it's a molt, a sacred quiet period of rebirth. You are not breaking down, you are rebuilding. The eagle's feather reminds you, act from strength, not fear. Lead through clarity, not force. Rise, but don't disconnect from the world. And when needed, rest, renew, begin again. Your soul seeks altitude not for glory, but for freedom. If you feel exhausted, it's not because you failed. It's because you've spent too long flying against the wind. Now, let the wind carry you. Your direction is upward. Your perspective is expanding. Your strength is returning. You are ready to remember what you were made for. You were born to rise. You chose the owl's feather, a symbol that does not chase brightness, but creates its own. While others search for answers in noise, you feel truth rising in quiet spaces. The owl sees through darkness not because it has better eyes, but because its vision comes from within. It doesn't fear the night, it understands it. If your attention settled on this feather, it means something in you has awakened. A depth, a clarity, a way of understanding life that isn't loud but unmistakably real. People who resonate with the owl's feather are observers, not detached, not distant, simply present in a way that most people rarely are. You can sit in silence without feeling uncomfortable. You can listen without needing to respond. You can sense what is unspoken, what trembles behind someone's voice, what hides behind the pauses between their words. The owl's feather is the feather of the inner witness. You don't seek attention. You don't demand to be heard. And yet, people feel understood in your presence. They sense your calm, your groundedness, your ability to hold space without judgment. You see people not for what they pretend to be, but for what they carry inside. Your wisdom doesn't come from books or theories. It comes from the life you've lived, the disappointments you've endured, the illusions you've had to release, and the truths that surfaced when everything else fell away. At some point, you let go of many things. Old relationships that drained you, expectations that limited you, patterns that no longer matched who you were becoming. And when someone tells you you've become quieter, they don't realize something important. This isn't indifference. This is maturity. You don't need to win arguments. You don't need to prove your worth. You don't need to be loud to be strong. The owl's feather arrives as an invitation. Look not with your eyes, but with your heart. You have the rare ability to perceive what lies beneath the surface. You feel the emotional temperatures of people. You intuit the directions beneath their decisions. You notice the small details others overlook entirely. Sometimes this depth makes you feel isolated, not because you are alone, but because you experience the world more quietly, more thoughtfully, more profoundly than most people are ready for. But loneliness is not your truth. It is simply the space where your wisdom grows. You have learned to find meaning in pauses, beauty in simplicity, and strength in softness. Your light is lunar, gentle, reflective, steady. It doesn't dazzle, it reveals. The owl teaches patience. It knows that everything has its right timing. It does not hunt during the day because clarity is not created by force. It waits for the night, its moment of true vision. Your life is in such a moment now, a moment of quiet transformation, a shift that doesn't need chaos to be real. If the path ahead looks uncertain, don't rush. Wisdom isn't something that can be forced. It ripens. Just as the owl trusts the stillness before it moves, you too can trust this season of introspection. The owl's feather tells you, your silence is strength, not weakness. Your intuition is a compass, trust it. Your maturity is not a loss of passion, but a gain of clarity. Your inner world is your greatest guide. Your soul isn't looking for noise, it's looking for truth, and truth speaks softly. If your world feels dim right now, don't fear. You are not lost. You are adjusting your eyes to a deeper light. The owl does not fly toward sound, it flies toward meaning. And so do you. You chose the swan's feather, a symbol of tenderness, quiet strength, and a soul that remains pure even after walking through storms. The swan is not just a bird. It is a living expression of harmony, emotional depth, and love that does not need to prove itself. When someone is drawn to the swan's feather, it means their heart speaks in a softer language, one the world often misunderstands, yet desperately needs. This feather is not bright or loud. It is white but not blinding, soft, like morning fog resting above a still lake. And you are the same. Your power doesn't come from dramatic gestures or loud declarations. Your power is the way you remain true to yourself in a world that constantly asks people to harden. You are someone who feels deeply. You love sincerely. You care without expecting applause. Where others rush, you sense. Where others react, you understand. Where others judge, you hold compassion. There is a quiet nobility in you, a grace that doesn't demand attention, yet touches everyone who crosses your path. The swan's feather comes to people who have walked through emotional storms and emerged softer, not colder. Perhaps you have lost something important. Perhaps you have endured heartbreak, betrayal, or moments of deep loneliness. Not because you were weak, but because you love with your whole being, and still, you remain open. Still, you choose kindness. Still, you move through life with beauty and intention. This is the strength of the swan. It glides effortlessly across the surface of the water, even when the water beneath is turbulent. Its grace is not a performance. It is its nature. So it is with you. Your search is not for excitement or chaos. Your search is for meaning, for a connection where honesty is enough, where presence is healing, where love is not a battlefield but a refuge. You know that true happiness is not constant euphoria. It is the quiet certainty that everything is in its right place. You love without controlling. You give without demanding. You show up without wearing masks. Your sincerity is a rare kind of medicine. Sometimes, however, being this open-hearted can make you feel unprotected. You may notice that people come to you for warmth, for comfort, for grounding, yet do not always offer the same in return. And you may wonder, why do I give so much more than I receive? It is not because you are weak. It is because your soul was made to reflect light. But even swans need still water to rest. You have the right to withdraw. You have the right to recharge. You have the right to protect your peace. Your softness does not mean you must be endlessly available. The swan's feather reminds you. Your gentleness is not fragility. It is courage. Your love is not naive. It is healing. Your sensitivity is not a flaw. It is your guidance system. Your heart is not too much. It is exactly what makes you rare. If you feel like you're at a crossroads, do not rush. Swans never force their movement. They wait. They trust the water to show the direction. So trust your life's current. What is meant for you will not drift away. You carry a light that cannot be dimmed. Even in darkness, your soul reflects the sky. Purity is not the absence of mistakes, but the choice to remain kind despite them. Your soul is ready for a new kind of love. A love without fear, without masks, without conditions. A love that feels like recognition. A love that feels like home. You were born to bring peace, beauty, and healing into the world simply by being yourself. And that is your greatest power. You chose the peacock's feather, one of the world's oldest and most enigmatic symbols, a reminder that true beauty is not decoration, but expression. The colors shimmer not to impress, but to reveal. They are the voice of a soul that refuses to dim itself to match the world's expectations. If this feather called to you, it is because something inside you is ready to be seen. Not for validation, not for approval, but for truth. This feather is for those who cannot live in grayscale, for those who feel life in full color, emotion, passion, imagination, inspiration. People like you are not born to blend in. You are born to awaken. The peacock is often misunderstood as a symbol of pride, but that is a shallow reading. At its core, the peacock embodies self-recognition. The moment you stop apologizing for who you are and begin embracing the full spectrum of your being. You may be a creator, an artist, a dreamer, a storyteller, or simply someone with a vivid inner world. You see beauty where others see nothing. You feel possibility where others see limits. You carry a hidden fire that flickers, even when life feels dull. And perhaps, for a long time, you have kept this fire small. You toned yourself down to avoid judgment. You hid your talents to avoid envy. You softened your light so others wouldn't feel uncomfortable. But your soul is done shrinking. The peacock's feather arrives in your life now to tell you, stop pretending to be ordinary. You were never meant to be. Inside you lives a brilliance, a unique voice, a unique vision, a unique way of being that no one else on this planet can replicate. Not everyone will understand you. Not everyone was meant to. Some people will call your passion too much because they are not accustomed to intensity. Some will call your creativity unrealistic because they are afraid to imagine. Some may interpret your confidence as arrogance because they do not know how to carry their own light. But the peacock doesn't dim its colors to make pigeons comfortable. And neither should you. Your energy is magnetic. People notice you, even when you wish they wouldn't. They sense your layers, your depth, your emotional range. You shine from the inside out, and that kind of authenticity is impossible to fake. Yet with this brightness, there is also vulnerability. Sometimes you hide your pain behind laughter. Sometimes you wrap your sensitivity in a cloak of charm. People see the glow, but not always the wounds underneath. The peacock's feather reminds you, your vulnerability is part of your beauty. Your softness is part of your power. Your emotional courage is part of your magnetism. If inspiration feels blocked right now, or if you feel stuck, dimmed, or uninspired, it only means one thing: you are ready to reinvent yourself. Just as the peacock sheds its feathers each year to grow new ones, you too are entering a season of renewal. Old patterns must fall away. Old fears must be released. Old versions of you must be thanked and then left behind. Your soul is evolving toward more color, more truth, more freedom. The peacock's feather tells you, your uniqueness is not a flaw, it is your gift. Your creativity is not random, it is your soul speaking. Your emotions are not too intense, they are your fuel. Your desire to shine is not ego, it is authenticity. Your presence inspires others even when you don't try. You are not meant to live quietly. You are meant to live fully, boldly, honestly, vividly. If you chose this feather, a new chapter is beginning. A chapter where you stop hiding your brilliance and start letting it lead you. Your colors are not a performance. They are your truth made visible. Let them be seen. Each of the 4 feathers, the eagle, the owl, the swan, and the peacock, carries its own message, its own archetype, its own truth. But together, they reveal something deeper. They are not 4 separate symbols, but 4 reflections of the same soul, your soul. The eagle's feather awakens strength and clarity. It reminds you that you were born with vision, courage, and the ability to rise above the limitations that once held you down. It is the part of you that acts, that dares, that leads, even when fear whispers in your ear. It is the reminder that you can fly higher than your doubts. The owl's feather holds the wisdom of silence. It teaches you to listen not with impatience, but with presence. It reveals truths that can only be felt, not spoken. It is the part of you that sees through illusions, senses what others overlook, and understands that true knowledge comes from experience, introspection, and resilience. It is the reminder that clarity grows in stillness. The swan's feather radiates purity, love, and emotional depth. It shows you that strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it moves softly, gracefully, gently, and yet changes everything it touches. It is the part of you that loves without fear, forgives without weakness, and remains kind even after hardship. It is the reminder that softness is a form of power. The peacock's feather shines with creativity, individuality, and self-expression. It invites you to be unapologetically yourself. To embrace your colors, your layers, your passions, your fire. It is the part of you that creates beauty, inspires others, and refuses to shrink just to make others comfortable. It is the reminder that your uniqueness is your gift, not your burden. These 4 feathers, these 4 wings, are not outside of you. They are in you. You carry all of them. You are the eagle when life demands courage. You are the owl when life asks for understanding. You are the swan when life calls for love. You are the peacock when life invites you to shine. There will be seasons when one feather feels stronger than the others. Seasons when you need the eagle's confidence, or the owl's quiet, or the swan's grace, or the peacock's vibrance. But true balance doesn't come from choosing only one. It comes from allowing all four to exist within you, from giving each part of your soul permission to breathe. Carl Jung believed that symbols are pathways inward. They reveal what the conscious mind forgets. This test is not a game. It is a mirror, a way to touch the part of yourself you often hide, even from your own awareness. So take a moment. Look at the feather you chose. Feel its meaning not as a label, but as a direction, a guide toward the part of your soul that's asking to awaken right now. And when you're ready, share in the comments. Which feather chose you? Did its message resonate with the truth you feel inside? Your voice helps us continue creating new symbols, new stories, and new Jungian tests for self-discovery. Your like and subscription are the fuel that keeps these journeys alive. But more importantly, remember this. Inside you, there are wings you have not yet used, strength you have not yet claimed, beauty you have not yet revealed, wisdom you have not yet trusted, and love you have not yet given fully to yourself. The feathers are not outside of you. They are you, the soul that rises, the soul that remembers, the soul that is learning again and again to fly.